Well, don't let summer fun land you in the ER. Summer is often referred to as trauma season by people who work in healthcare. Emergency rooms, they see an uptake in visits as temperatures heat up during the summer months. So joining us right now is Kathryn Myers with HealthONE Sky Ridge. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so many people are outside. What are the top summer safety concerns?
So I think some of the things that people really forget to do in the summer is to be really planning ahead for safety. And one of the things that we are seeing are people, they're not wearing the helmets, whether on a motorcycle, an e-bike, rock climbing, on a horse.
Right.
If it can throw you off or you can fall from it, you need to wear a helmet, and you also need to make sure it's fastened underneath your chin. That's one of the things that we see. It's not just trauma. People are getting injured in all different kinds of ways. And another thing that's really important is that when people are out on the water, that they're wearing their life preservers. Always.
Yes.
If you're in a paddle boat, your paddleboard, not just strapped to it, but actually on your body, because even the strongest of swimmers, if they get separated from their boat or their tube or whatever, they can end up in deep trouble.
We've already seen some tragedies this summer on the water. So a lot of people, we've been talking about the extreme heat, especially in the next couple of days. How can people stay healthy in this extreme heat?
That's, I think many of us in Colorado, we're very aware that we need to be drinking lots of fluids with electrolytes. I think it's really important to wear a hat. It can help us regulate our body temperature. It can protect our eyes, our skin, and also wearing sunglasses, sunscreen, drinking plenty of fluids, and also trying to stay in the shade as much as possible when you're outside.
Yeah, those are good tips. Okay, you brought a lot of things here. You took it out of your first aid kit. So run us through a couple of these things and what should we pack in a first aid kit?
So a first aid kit can be very basic or it can be quite elaborate.
Sure.
And I think some of whatever's in your first aid kit, you need to know how to use it. That's really important. And if I do recommend people get training in first aid, bleeding control is really important one, CPR. So I have a couple of things in my kit that I'm trained to use. But just the basic things that I think are really important are your PPE, making sure you're protecting yourself before you are helping somebody else and making sure it's safe to do so.
So that's gloves and masks?
Yeah, especially the gloves, I would say, the main thing.
Sure.
And then understanding how to control somebody's bleeding. So having something to put pressure, a bandage or gauze swabs, how to put pressure on the bleeding area and how to dress it properly. I think, for the kids, all the bumps and bruises, having lots of Band-Aids of different sizes is really key.
I have a lot of Band-Aids at home, I'll tell you that.
Yes, I have a lot of grandchildren and I go through a lot of Band-Aids.
Yes. And antibiotic ointment,
I keep it in my kit, and I have some wound wash. But if you're going to put any medicines in your first aid kit, it's probably good to have a conversation with your paediatrician or your provider what really is the best fit for you. So this is my basic first aid kit that I keep in my car, and I just keep it in the lunch bag because it's easy to grab and go.
Yes.
Things in your car can kind of deteriorate, so it's important to be thoughtful as to what you're putting in your kit.
Kathy, thank you so much for coming on and telling us about all of this. Thank you. It's very important information, especially as summer's heating up. So
thank you. It was a pleasure to be here.
And remember, you can watch all of our interviews on our website, cbscolorado.com.